Each year in the spring, from northern Canada to the southern borders of the United States, hundreds of millions of seedlings break through the forest floor. How many? Who knows? It's more than you can count, more than anyone can count. And hundreds of millions of these trees owe their lives to men, forest managers, and to an idea. The idea that trees are a crop. Down south, from the Carolinas around to Texas, the growth cycle of trees is faster in the sun-warmed soil. In these states, trees are a crop bigger in area than all the other southern agricultural crops put together, bigger than cotton or tobacco. This is the country of short leaf, long leaf, loblolly, and slash pine. The south is a pine forest with roads, with clearings for farms, cities, and mills for making paper, and now, even dissolving pulp. The south is a country of giant mills, set down very often right in the forests, and some of the biggest machines in all industry. The South is primarily the Kraft paper and Kraft board region. Kraft, meaning strength in Swedish, is the paper of the familiar bags in which the things Americans buy come home from the store. The big, tough, multi-walled sacks that can handle fertilizer, cement, flour, sugar, salt, and hundreds of dry chemicals. This is the country of container production. Sanitary milk cartons you don't have to return. They come off these machines at the rate of 4 million a day, and production is steadily increasing. The South is also the place where some of the most intensive forest management educational work is being done, because over 90% of the wood used is bought from private owners. This calls for good neighbor relations, like the work of the conservation foresters of the Southern Kraft Division.
You see, my job as a conservation forester of the Southern Kraft Division of International Paper Company is to sell good forest management. I divide my time each month between the different wood procurement areas in my territory. I get around and try to help and encourage youngsters like Billy Jones. I helped him get pine seedlings to plant on a piece of eroded land on his father's farm. He's accomplished two things here. He's tying down the farm with pine roots so it won't wash away, and he's planting a crop he'll be able to harvest by the time he gets out of school. I often advise farmers on their forestry problems and show them trees that ought to come out, trees that are crowded and have stopped growing. This is going to give the other trees a new lease on life. Sometimes I run into people who are letting their woods grow wild, who don't know they're letting good income go to waste. I show them how they can make money with their trees year after year. Down here, money really grows on trees. I get around and talk to the men who are cutting wood and discuss things like stumps. You see, if you leave them this high, it won't be long before you'll have a cord of wood in stumps. A cord of wood that'll never be worth a dime to you. I always try to get in a plug for fire prevention, too. We have a great bunch of boys in the fire suppression units, but if they never got a chance to fight a fire, it would suit everybody fine. Fire always wins at least part of the battle. Yes, no matter how fast you bring it under control, the fire will wipe out some of the woods. And at the same time, it wipes out future paychecks and future production. It takes time to start over again and catch up. When it comes to reforestation, I sometimes put on a demonstration for the future farmers of America and 4-H club members. I show them the new mechanical planter, with which you can set out over 1,000 seedlings an hour when it becomes necessary to restock a piece of land. You know, I got to thinking about it the other day, and I guess I spend most of my life talking about trees. As far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest subject in the world.
Only nature can give the little fellows a start, but we can give them a chance to produce and bring more income, more jobs to the people of the South, the North, Canada, everywhere in the pulpwood country.
The wood cellulose that is manufactured by the trees. North Americans read thousands of tons of newspapers every day, and the newsprint machines of our companies run day and night to help keep us the best informed people in the world. Forest managers know that one mill, producing some 850 tons of newsprint a day, needs nearly 300,000 cords a year, the yearly new growth of a 4,000 square mile woodlot. Canadian international woodland limits cover 21,000 square miles of forest. This means managing trees that would cover Vermont, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. The job is in the hands of capable men.
There are various ways of cutting timber, but we regard ours as a long-term harvest operation. Most of these Canadian International Paper Company woodlands are public property, and therefore we have to prepare our plan of operations and submit it to the office of the Minister of Lands and Forests for approval. Each year, we submit a specific cutting plan, and government woods experts who know the area as well as we do check it over. Operations in our area begin with thousands of aerial photographs, hundreds of pages of drafts and written descriptions based on the notes of scores of men who go over the forest personally. We call them timber cruises. Once the forest plan has been approved, thousands of men are organized for a great variety of jobs. Building roads, for example. Canadian International Paper Company alone has built 1,200 miles of roads in the forests it manages. That's the distance from Chicago to Miami, Winnipeg to Montreal.
One of the biggest jobs of the forest manager is protection. In Canada, fire and insects together are responsible for 22.5% of the annual wood depletion. Pulpwood accounts for only 18.5%. Canadian International is helping nature fight these enemies. The vast areas which cannot yet be reached by road are patrolled by boat and canoe. This in turn means added maintenance, equipment, and specially trained personnel.
Don't forget that fire is one of the greatest of all users of wood. It produces nothing but ashes and blackened stumps. It not only wipes out standing timber, but millions of seedlings, the forests of tomorrow. In the burned over ruins are the cinders not only of millions of newspapers that will never be read, and homes that will never be built, but millions of dollars in wages that will never be paid, of goods and groceries that will never be bought, of a working wood factory put out of commission for a generation.
In Canada, the wood harvesting begins in the fall. The cutters are mostly farmers who harvest wood when their own crops are in. It's a big job. Last year, the men working for Canadian International Paper Company ate more than 9,000 tons of food, and all of it was supplied by the company. For months, the harvest of logs continues as the cutting proceeds according to plan, weather permitting. 250 miles to the mill. But Canada has a mighty system of highways, her network of rivers. The logs come down to the ice throughout the winter, stored for the spring breakup. Now the highway is open, and the drivers go to work, driving the logs down the tributaries to the arteries, down the arteries to the far-off mills. Wood will flow down a fast stream, but sooner or later it will reach slow water or lakes. Hundreds of thousands of logs have to be towed in rafts across the slow water, often in the face of high winds. The drivers and river highways have made delivery. Now, it is the job of the people of the mills. The people who change these logs into the dissolving pulp, which may become rayon, cellophane, or plastics. The people who transform logs into the paper tomorrow's news will be printed on. Conservation comes down from the forest and is carried right through the gates of the mill. At Gatineau in Quebec, the first completely integrated operation is underway. Here they use everything from the woods except the sound of the wind in the trees. Wood that can't be used for paper pulp is turned into building board. Mature birch logs are peeled out in sheets for plywood laminations. Waste liquors of the chemistry of pulp production are processed to become alcohol. The managed forests go on building in silence under the brown bark, preparing for the needs of future generations.